Have you ever heard the phrase, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Older neuroscience research had stated that our brain stopped growing and changing around age 25. And this information was based off of a study that looked at rodents living in a cage, which, as you know, is an environment that provides no variety and no change. The more recent research shows that our brain actually can keep growing and changing, something that's referred to as neuroplasticity. And that's the incredible ability of our brains to change and adapt throughout our lives. So you might be wondering, what is neuroplasticity? Well, simply put, it's the brain's remarkable capacity to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. It's the brain's way of adapting to new experiences, new things that we've learned, and to help us recover from injuries. Now imagine your brain is a flexible and a dynamic organ, constantly reshaping itself based off of activities and the information that it encounters. So there are 3 different types of neuroplasticity. The first is structural plasticity, and this involves physical changes in the brain structure. This includes the formation of new synapses, which are connections between neurons, as well as the remodeling of existing synapses. Think of this as the brain's way of building and renovating its communication pathways. The second is functional plasticity. Now, functional changes occur when different areas of our brain take over the functions of damaged regions. For example, say somebody's had a stroke and the part of their brain that's responsible for motor skills is injured. There's a chance that another area of the brain may step in to compensate. It's like a backup team that ensures these essential functions aren't lost. The last is neurochemical plasticity, and this refers to changes in the production and the release of neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters are the chemical messengers that transmit signals between those neurons. Neurochemical plasticity allows the brain to regulate its chemical balance, it influences our mood and our behavior, and it participates in overall cognitive function as well. So how does neuroplasticity work? So imagine your brain is a dense forest of trees, with each tree representing a neuron. Now, when you learn something new or engage in a particular activity, it's like forging a new path through this forest. Initially, the path may be overgrown and challenging to navigate. But with time, repetition, and practice, it becomes a well-trodden trail. So neuroplasticity is fueled by a process called synaptic pruning. And this is where the brain strengthens important connections and eliminates those unnecessary ones. It's like trimming the branches of a tree to make those paths in your brain more efficient. The more you repeat an activity or reinforce a thought, the more robust these neural pathways that are associated with it become. So by this point, you are probably curious on how you can change and grow your brain. And there's actually 3 simple things that you can do. The first is to embrace lifelong learning. Challenge your brain by acquiring new skills, new hobbies, or knowledge. Now this could be learning to play a musical instrument or picking up a new language. Engaging in novel activities stimulates this neuroplasticity. The second is mindfulness and meditation. So practices like mindfulness and meditation, they've been shown to promote neuroplasticity. They help to rewire the brain by enhancing our focus, our attention, and our emotional regulation. Now, if you don't already have a meditation practice, YouTube is a great resource of guided meditations as well as just meditation music. So my personal favorite is Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you're not familiar with his work, I can't urge you enough to check him out. The last thing is regular physical exercise and staying active. So regular exercise has been linked to an enhanced neuroplasticity. It not only improves the blood flow to the brain, but it also encourages a release of growth factors that support new formation of neural connections. Now this is where chiropractic comes in, for a few reasons actually. The first is, it's really hard to move if you're in pain. So have you ever sat and binge watched TV for maybe an hour or 6? No judgment here. But when you did you get up feeling refreshed and ready to go, or a bit stiff and unsteady like a tin man in the woods? So oftentimes, if you're living with chronic pain or even just working with a new injury, it really greatly limits how well you're actually able to move. Now, staying in that same vein, you not only have to move, but you have to move properly. And so as we move, there's receptors that are located all throughout our body that send information to the brain through our spinal cord, which is part of our central nervous system. So as this information travels up and down the cord, keeping that brain and body communicating, we want it to have a clear path. Now, sometimes those bones of your spine or your vertebra can move out of their proper position, something that we as chiropractors refer to as subluxated. When this happens, it can interfere with that communication that's going back and forth between the brain and the body. And this can be a contributing factor to pain, but it can also impact your mood and your overall health. So, just to recap, by doing these 3 easy tasks, not only can you keep your brain growing and thriving, but you can improve your health and well-being too.